Have you ever dreamed of living in major cities around the world, which are also vibrant hubs of cultures and innovation? The offerings of these well-known places like New York, London, and Tokyo are enough to make them an ideal destination for enjoying your life, but they might come with a burly price tag. So, from rising costs of living and food to fluctuating real estate market and transportation costs, this video has outlined the most expensive cities to live in 2024, as ranked by the Economic Intelligence Unit's latest survey. And even if you're making around $100K a year, you're still likely to live paycheck to paycheck in these cities. Before we continue, make sure to smash the subscribe button to Across Cultures, where we share with you interesting global insights. Number 5. Los Angeles, USA. Being a global entertainment hub, Los Angeles offers an attractive lifestyle to ensure its position among the most expensive cities in the world. The booming entertainment industry in the city is centered around Hollywood and captures the attention of talented and well-paid professionals from around the world. This, in turn, increases the demand for housing and raises property prices. So, from high taxes and increasing consumer prices to high real estate prices, several factors are influencing the cost of living in Los Angeles that will make you live paycheck to paycheck even with $100K a year. Los Angeles is geographically constrained by the mountains and the oceans, which significantly limits the availability of land for development. This scarcity of land thus contributes to the competitive real estate market and high housing costs in the city. The rent prices in Los Angeles are especially high in the celebrity neighborhoods like West Hollywood, Santa Monica, and Beverly Hills. Even so, a one-bedroom apartment in the city center costs US $2,000 to $3,300 per month. Besides the rising costs of living, the cost of dining out is surprisingly high as well. Having a meal at a restaurant in the middle of Los Angeles would cost you up to $45 per person. Furthermore, the city's vast size and reliance on private transportation also account for the increased transportation costs, leading to the price of US $1.59 per liter of gasoline. So, this is how the relatively high expenses of daily chores such as groceries, transportation, healthcare system, and utilities in Los Angeles will certainly make you struggle even if you make a decent income. Number 4. Hong Kong, China. When it comes to highlighting the most expensive cities to live in 2024, the status of Hong Kong as a global financial center along with its strategic location is what counts the city in our list. The real estate market in Hong Kong is known for its high price category, such that the cost per square meter of living space in the city can be one of the highest in the world. Since the city is primarily skyscrapers, a limited amount of land is available, and that's what makes the rent housing a biggest expense of the city. Numbeo has reported that a one-bedroom apartment in Hong Kong city center costs approximately US $1,700 to $3,100 per month. Being a financial global hub, Hong Kong City attracts both domestic and international professionals, which further drives up the demand for housing in the city. We made another video to dive deep into this topic, so check it out. Above this, the city's reliance on imports for many goods and services combined with its high population density significantly contributes to its increasing cost of daily necessities. Even so, eating in a mid-range restaurant will cost you up to US $101 per person. The strong economy of Hong Kong is centered around its infrastructure, finance, trade, and logistics, which attracts a large number of high-income earners. So, the influx of well-paid professionals increases the demand for premium housing and services, which, in turn, raises the overall cost of living in the city. Number 3. Tel Aviv, Israel. From the world's famous restaurants to stunning beaches and exciting nightlife, Tel Aviv has it all. But did you know that there's a burly price tag attached to all this fun as well? Yes, besides being a dynamic and exciting destination for tourists, Tel Aviv ranks third as a newcomer to the top 5 list. Fueled by both domestic migration and an influx of international residents, the city's population is continuously growing. And this is why Tel Aviv is experiencing a high demand for goods and housing. This demand, coupled with a limited supply of resources, is driving up the price of daily necessities in the city. Well, this growing population is leading to increased competition for available housing, causing property prices to skyrocket. According to reports from Numbeo, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment comes out to US $2,100 per month. The grocery prices are even higher, such that dining out even in a mid-range restaurant in the city will cost you up to US $137 per person. Increasing food and transportation are, therefore, noted as an important factor for the overall increased living expenses of Tel Aviv. This year, the average prices of everyday essentials reportedly jumped 3.5% as compared to last year's 1.9% increase. Also, tax prices in Israel, particularly for high-income earners, are relatively high compared to other developed countries. This significantly contributes to the overall cost of living, as individuals and businesses pass on these expenses to consumers in the form of higher prices for goods and services. Number 2. New York City, New York. With a long history of being one of the most expensive cities in the world, New York City's high cost of living is attributed to its status as a global financial center, expensive housing, and high demand for real estate. With no wonder, living in New York is just like living in a city full of opportunities. As Alicia Keys said, it's a concrete jungle where demands are made of. While movies and TV shows depict New York life as full of pride, you must shell out some cash to live there. So, when it comes to living in New York City, words like big city, big dreams, and big rent all fit in one frame. According to the apartment list, a two-bedroom apartment in the city center would cost you up to US $4,331. And aside from rent charges, there are utilities, broker fees, and security deposit to factor in when renting an apartment in the city. Due to this status as a global metropolis, NYC attracts a large number of tourists and business hubs. This in turn derbies up demand for goods and services. So, the courtesy of living in NYC demands another out-of-this-world expense, such that eating in even an inexpensive restaurant will cost an average of US $25 per person. Groceries are even more expensive than in other parts of the country. Above this, moving to New York simply means ditching your car and learning to use the public transportation system. Also, property taxes and income taxes in NYC can be steep, especially for high-income earners. Consequently, this overall increased price of living in NYC will certainly make you live paycheck to paycheck even if you've been making $100K per year or more. Number 1. Singapore. Being a consistent top contender, the city has been named the most expensive place to live 9 times. Yes, it's not the first time Singapore has topped this rank over the past 11 years. As a small, densely populated island nation with limited land and resources, Singapore faces challenges that directly contribute to its expensive lifestyle. A primary driver of the high living expenses in the city is its housing market. With a scarcity of land available for the development, the government manages housing supply through a system of controlled land releases and leasehold. The government ensures that Singapore can access affordable housing through Public Housing or Housing and Development Board (HDB) flats. And the average cost of HDB property is US $400,000 per square foot. Meanwhile, the cost of a small flat with 2 rooms shockingly varies from US $225,000 to US $337,000. In addition to the housing situation, Singapore relies heavily on imports to meet the needs of its residents. This is why grocery items cost a pretty higher price in Singapore as compared to the other regions. Eating out in the mid-range restaurants in Singapore costs up to US $150 for 2 persons. The city-state's thriving economy and global reputation attract highly skilled professionals from across the globe. So, to recruit the talent, businesses must offer competitive wages to the laborers. Consequently, the increased labor costs are passed on to consumers, adding to the overall expense of living in Singapore. So, after having a glimpse of all these mentioned living expenses in these cities, now you must know how much living in these areas would cost you. Before you leave, share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe.